Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
Leon.
Yeah.
Okay. If you can. Yeah. Yours.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So in this case, we say the output is 2, right? And we
Yeah.
draw the line there. But let's say
Hmm.
we draw the line at the beginning, where's n at 1.
Huh?
No, maybe, no, let me see, where n at 2.
Okay.
It
1,
goes to
2,
3 then.
3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay. Now I see that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Is there any approach in this?
Yeah, actually I tried this problem.
Yeah.
So like how I solved it was, so basically one thing to observe here is that sum of bricks in every row would be equal to some number which is 6 in this case.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you can either draw the line at say width 1. So basically you have 5 possible widths where you can draw the line. Either you can draw a line at width 1, width 2, 3, 4 or 5. So
Last you can't draw, I think. This one.
yeah. So so that will be 6. So up to 5 we can draw.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically what so in every row what I'll do, I'll start for say width 1 and I'll check if how many if at say at width 1 there is an edge intersecting with that or not. So for example, in first row, uh, one will basically first width will align with width 1, the width we are checking for.
Yeah.
So that means for first row, if we choose width 1, then there will be no intersection in first row. Then if we choose, then if we go to second row, and if we choose width 1, then there will be an intersection because there is no ending at width equal to 1 in second row. Then I go to third row, in which again I check there is an ending at width equal to 1. So in third row also there will be no intersection. Then in fourth row there will be intersection, and similarly in fifth row also there will be no intersection. So answer for this case will become 3 when I choose width equal to 1.
Okay.
So Arpit, when you say no intersection, what do you mean actually?
Okay, so so say if I choose width equal to 1, then in second row, no brick aligns with width 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
So means there is definitely an intersection in that row. Intersection means the line will cross the brick.
You have to cross the bridge. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So this was the rough idea of the problem. So for implementation, how I did was, so basically with this approach, it was becoming a little weird because your sum can be pretty large.
Yeah,
You can
one thing. Can
you
I
can
interrupt
share.
you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, before you that you say, when you tried this drawing a line on the fourth, right? You didn't find, you found the intersections, right? So
Yeah.
but here also you are crossing on the first row and on the fourth row, right?
Yeah. So there are 2 intersections only.
Okay, so you're counting the intersections.
Yeah. So we have
Okay.
to choose with the minimum intersection.
Okay.
So you are basically doing it for every width. For example, in this case, 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5, right?
Yeah. So so my next point was, but implementing this way would be pretty slow because the number of width can be pretty large. So instead, what we can do is we can calculate prefix. Can I share? Can I have the?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
I'll share my screen instead. Yeah.
Sure.
Share screen. Yeah. You are able to see my screen? Yeah. So what we will do, what it is, we can think of it as taking a prefix sum of each row. So for example, in first row, prefix sum will be 1, 3, 5, and 1. So what this means is there is
5 and 6.
Last will
yeah,
be next.
sorry. Yeah, 6. Thanks. So there is so if I choose any of this, choose to draw line at any of this width, 1, 3, 5, or 6, then there will be no 1, 3, or 5. Then there will be no intersection in first row. Then For second row, we have prefix sum as 3, 1, and
4,
yeah,
3,
this one,
4, right?
3 and 4.
correct.
We will not take the 6. Okay, let's take it. We will ignore it again. So 3 plus 1, then again it will be 1, then 4, then 6. Then it will be again
2 and 6.
2 and 6. Then it will be 1, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, 1, 4, 5, and 6.
You
So,
missed that 3, 1, 2. That will be
Yeah,
3,
3, 1,
4.
2, you missed it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
3, 4, and 6. Yeah. So basically, for prefix sum, for each entry in prefix sum, what it means is, if I choose to draw at any of those width, then there will be no intersection in that particular row. So what we can do is we can count number of number of endings at each width. So for
we can call them
example,
gaps, I think, for simplicity.
Yeah, each gap. So for example, if I for gap 1, there are 3 rows which are ending at gap 1. Then for gap 2, there is only 1 row which is ending at gap 2. Then there are 3 rows. Then there are 2 rows which are ending at gap 3. Then there are
There are 3 rows which are ending at 3, I guess. First, second, and fifth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
fifth 0.
Just see you draw it right.
3 is
Yeah,
3.
sure,
Yep.
3.
Okay, I'll make it 3. Then
4 also should be 3, I think. Yeah.
no, for 4 there are 4 endings.
Okay.
Yes, 3 plus 1 flow 4. Then again 1 plus 3 4.
Yeah.
And 3 again 3 plus 1 4. Yeah. Then for fifth
5.
row,
Yeah, 2.
yeah. Then for gap 5 there are
2.
2 endings only. Yeah. So basically the max of this is what we are looking for. So the max of this will be non-intersecting ones. So if in this row, if I choose to draw line at gap 4, then there will be then there will be 4 non-intersecting ones, non-intersecting bricks. So my total number of rows minus non-intersecting brick would be my answer.
I mean,
Because
6 minus 4 equal 2, right?
yeah, 6 minus 4 equal to 2. So basically,
Find the
intersecting
inverse. Yeah.
intersecting bricks is equals to total bricks minus non-intersecting ones. Minus non-intersecting ones. Yeah. Just non-intersecting. Yeah. I hope you got an idea.
Yeah.
You mean total brick minus the intersect one?
You mean total rows, I think, right?
Yeah. Total rows. Total bricks means total rows.
Oh, okay, intersect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there
the
can be-
total brick rows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So shall I show you the code?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I have done here is I have created one hash map, and I have taken one integer max. So this max will represent the number of non-intersecting rows we have gotten, non-intersecting bricks. So I traverse all the row, then I traverse all the bricks in the row. Of course, I will not traverse the last brick. Is that clear to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we cannot draw line at the end, so that's why
that's
we
fine.
don't have to take into account.
Even
So
like you
Just
don't
use it in
just
the-
check even if you put row dot size minus 1.
Yeah, right. For loop, you can put -1 only, and that will be done.
Avoid the
okay,
if statement.
yeah. Actually, that's a bad. Yeah, I'll fix that. Yeah. So then I have to find out brick number of bricks that are ending at that particular gap. Then I have simply done width plus equal to brick because I am calculating prefix sum on the fly. Because if you do calculate prefix sum at start, then you will have to do some extra work. So this basically each time I am initializing width equal to 0 for each row. Then as soon as I go further in that row, I just do width plus brick. So this gives me So this way I am able to maintain prefix sum on the fly. Then I have just incremented frequency for that particular gap, and then I have taken max of it. And in the end, I have done total wall size, wall dot size minus max. This is essentially number of rows minus non-intersecting ones. So we have gotten intersecting ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look good.
Yeah, it's an optimized version. Actually, you did the map merge on fly. You're calculating this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. As well as finding the max in the same one. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Can you explain what the map merge is doing again?
Yeah.
Okay. So what map dot merge is? So if there is if there does not exist entry in the map with particular key, then it will put that key with value 1. If the value already exists, then we will do this. O represents older value. So we are doing older value minus 1.
+1.
Plus 1.
Sorry, plus 1. So if width don't exist, then we put width we create entry with width and 1, because there will only be one occurrence. And if width already exists, then we increase it.
Is that a new API in Java map? I haven't seen this API.
Yeah. So I have also recently
Yeah, me
learned
neither.
it. It's in Java 8. It has been introduced in Java 8. Otherwise, you have to do, that map.contains key first and then.
Well, you can do get or default also.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, if you do get or default, then you will also have to call put again.
Yeah, first put and then inside get or default. It's the same. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. So, is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll stop sharing.
So my approach was similar to that of Arpit only, whatever he has. Just a matter of I'll go through each of the bricks and then just update the hash map as and when you get, as and when you encounter the new brick, and just take update the maximum whenever you have, and just subtract it and get. It's like first one you'll have first width, next time you'll have 2 + 1 3. So corresponding to 3 you'll have value, only one value, 3 is there. Now next time when you go again, it will have 2 + 1 3, 3 + 2 5. The next updated will be till now you'll have the value of 1, and so on. This will continue. It's similar only.
Yeah.
And regarding time complexity, I think it should be order of n square only.
So basically it will be order of bricks. So basically total number of bricks which we are traversing each bricks exactly once. So total time complexity will be O of B. B is number of bricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the rows, and I will have to count each and every brick. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can proceed. Or any queries in this? I will proceed to next.
And so the space complexity is number of rows.
Basically.
Yeah.
So the maximum width of the wall is the space complexity.
Maximum width of the wall. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we consider all bricks of size 1, that will be the worst case, right?
Yeah, that will be the worst case. Yeah.
The smaller the size, the longer the width will be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we can proceed to next. So it's an online election. In an election, the ith vote was cast for the person I at the time times of I. Now we would like to implement the following query function. There's a top voted dot q. They're passing a parameter whose data type is integer, it will return the number of persons that was leading the election at a given particular time t. Now the votes cast at time t will count towards our query, and in case of a tie you have, the most recent vote will be taken into consideration. So this is these are the candidates, top voted candidate and all this. So what they are doing that at the time step of 3, if you can see, they have only 0 leading votes at the time step of 3. Next, if you look at the 2, you'll have 0, 1, 1. So 1 is leading in this case. And when you look at 25, again you'll have this 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. Again you can see this 1 is leading, which is a tie with the previous one. And so according to that, I mean, if you continue for the next 15, 24 and 8, you'll find that these are the values that you'll have.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyone wants to lead this, or any queries or approaches in this?
I think we can leading.
Pardon?
Why at 15 is the leading candidate is 0?
15?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying 12 is leading with 25 as of now.
No. If this continues for 3 more queries at this time,
Yeah.
24 and 8. Who will be leading at 15 actually apart as per this?
So again, this.
If the votes are equal, then the most recent one.
Most 0, I think, yeah, because both of them are same, 1 and 0. So I think at 15 it will be the 0 one will be leading.
Yeah, 24 also same 0. Okay, 0. Okay, got it. And the 8 it is 1.
Yeah.
Got it. It was initially it was so confusing. This question I didn't understand. So
yeah, it is.
The time is, they also indicate the time is strictly increasing. So they're always.
Yeah, that is important too.
So is the first array, like after the top candidate one, like the 0, 1, 1, is that that persons of I?
Yeah, it looks like that's
those are the candidates.
Number.
Yeah.
0, 1, 1 is the whom they voted.
Okay.
It's their ID, I think, right?
It is saying
Okay.
that 0 minute.
And then the next one are the times.
Yep.
And then the next one are the actual queries, the query times.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can think of this like that 7-person vote, right? Because that is 7. I mean the size 7. So the first person vote for 0, the second person vote for 1, and so on.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Second person came at 5th minute, third person at 10th minute and voted.
Yeah, makes sense.
We need to go and check at 3rd minute how many voted. By 3rd minute, only 1 person voted. By 12th minute, only 2 persons voted by that time. 3 persons voted by that time.
3, yeah.
I think we can do it in like every query can be done in log of n time. So first we can pre-compute like at time 0 we have first vote to the 0th candidate. At time 5 we have the vote count as to the means we can maintain an array of time and corresponding votes to the first candidate and the 0th candidate. And when we have computed this, whenever we have a query for time t, we'll search in our new array that contains the votes also. So, for example, we are searching for the time at t equals to 12. So, our original array 0, 5, 10. This would contain first element as 0. The vote corresponding to 0 as 0 and vote corresponding to 1 as 0. Or at t equals to 5, it will contain 2 votes, 1 for 0th candidate and 1 for 2nd candidate. And at t equals to 10, it would contain 3 votes, 1 for 0th candidate, 2 for 1st candidate. So
Do you want to like share your screen?
Yeah, share your screen. That will be better.
Yeah, actually, I have not written code, so
like whatever you are explaining, like if you can
yeah,
just
I can just just a second.
Maybe since the timings are increasing order, maybe we can do binary search.
Yeah, I think that's an intuition. That's an intuition.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, first we have to build up the pre-competition array, sorted array, and then do the binary search during the queue.
I think we have to first build the sorted winning combination, right? Who is winning at what time?
Yes.
So, but if you do a complete array, like if you have times of like 25, okay, if we have an array, 30 actually, right? So if you have an array of 30 elements and we just keep on the way what Seymour is saying, right? Just add those numbers there. So we don't need a binary search also. It's just look up of O of one, right?
No, but the array is, but the time is continuous, right? It's not discrete.
Yeah, that's true. But so we can have an array of 30 elements.
Oh yeah, that is true. That is true. So it's a trade-off between a space and
time. Yeah.
But how you know this? There is 30. How you know the size of the array 30?
Yeah. So if it's not streaming, that is fine. But if it is fixed, then it is okay.
Yeah, I mean it's not streaming because the input is given when it actually constructs that object. So the time array. So the last entry in that array will be, you can say that will be the last entry.
But if like the last person vote much later, then it could be the array could be very big, right?
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. First, let Seymour explain it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to write what I was saying. Just let me finish it for this sample array.
There's also another way, actually having kind of like a cache map. So if there's a query that is being queried between times, then you can return it right away instead of binary searching it.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say is like we have given votes as like this, and corresponding times is in this array, and we are querying for 3, 12, and 4. So we can pre-compute an array of times having corresponding vote to the 0th candidate and the first candidate. So at t equals to 0, we have first vote to the 0th candidate, and there's no vote for the first candidate. At t equals to 5, we have 1 vote to the 0th candidate and 1 vote to the first candidate. So similarly, we have built this array. So now if I have to search for the at t equals to 3, so I'll just binary search over this and I'll pick up this element. The first element that is close below, I think like it has some technical term also, like in tree map. I don't know what it is called.
The lower bound, upper bounds.
Yeah. So that we can search, but I think there's one more thing that we have to take care of. Like the votes are equal. If we search for at t equals to 8, then I think we also need to maintain who is the maybe a Boolean flag 0 or 1. What is the
Isn't it better to actually for each of the times to see who the winner is at that point of time? For example,
no, if suppose I query for t equals to 8, so I'll go to this element and it would have equal votes. So I need to know who is the last guy who received the last vote.
But whenever you are updating this, right? So if the person who actually gets vote at that particular timestamp, right? And if he's getting the equal votes, then you can actually update that person as a winner rather than the older person as a winner. So that way you don't even have to maintain the Boolean flag.
But I think all the votes and times are given and then
I agree. So I think the situation will only change with these times only, right? For example, the situation will change at time 0, at time 5, at time 10,
we can
at time
do
40.
one thing for like saving space, we can go to the previous element and figure out what is the change. And then we can decide who is the last guy got, means which guy got the last.
No, you don't have to. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, okay, let me share my screen. Okay.
Okay, I'll stop sharing. Okay, and did it pause?
No.
No,
You have to stop sharing. You have to stop sharing.
Where do I get that option? Okay, okay.
Top.
Yeah.
Let me quickly grab the example so that I can explain what I'm saying. Sure. Sorry guys. I think it's taking time. All right. Where's the text box? Okay. Right. So this is an example which is given to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Forget about the query for now. So what I'm saying is, these are the persons who was getting the votes, correct? And this is the time.
Yeah.
Right. So all I'm saying is the situation will change only. Let me write it time so that it's going to confuse. So all I'm saying is this, the situation of winning versus losing will change only at these discrete times, right? 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, or 30. Because these are the only events which is happening in the system, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, a person who is winning at 0 is still winning at position at time equal to 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's number one thing. That's a first intuition. The second intuition is while you're iterating from the times, all you have to maintain is who is winning. Okay. We basically mention the person number or something. And the second thing you have to maintain is how many votes he's getting. Right. So once you have this information, right, and if there is a tie, right, so why a tie will happen? The tie will happen because at that particular time, that person is getting more votes or equal votes than the previous one, right? And because at that particular time he is the most recent one, so I can just update that entry. So for example, in this case, let me complete this example. Okay. So initially this, let's call this as variable who is winning equal to -1, and how many votes also equal to, let's say, 0. Okay. This is just at a dummy value. So for first, for 0, 0, right? So who is winning? Forget about like how many votes 0 have. 0 have 1 vote, right? Which is greater than how many votes. So I will, for my auxiliary array, I will have the entries as 1, as 0, because 0 is winning, right?
One question.
Update.
You will have auxiliary array for each person, right?
No, for the global person. And I will do the binary search on this auxiliary array in the end.
For each times,
For
it's gonna be
each time. Yes, exactly. For each
who's
time.
gonna be the winner.
Yeah. So and how many votes I'm getting now? 1, right? So now the term came as 5. Also, I have to maintain some form of map, right? Like for example, in this case, the person 0 is having 1 vote, correct? So now the comes is the time 5, and at that particular time 1 is winning, right? So how many votes 1 have now? 1 have 1 votes, right? So now it's a tie, correct? So this is a situation in which I have to pick the last one, because this is greater than or equal to the how many votes, right? So I will pick this guy now, and that's why it is becoming the latest one. Did you guys understand this part?
No, actually.
No.
Can you repeat it?
Yeah, to some extent.
Maybe.
Yeah, please repeat it. Yeah.
Okay. From
you are just I have a query. You are storing the 0 is the winner. Who is the winner at that event at time t? Not for all times, just at the time whenever a vote occurred.
Yes.
Am I correct?
I got it.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, now I got it.
I mean, for this example, the auxiliary array is going to be the same as the person's
so-
array. So we might need to come up with a different example when, for example, there are more ones.
Yeah, actually, why don't you complete the whole example,
Yeah,
you know, so
yeah,
it will be slightly clear.
Yeah. So after this, right? So now the 1 comes. Am I right? So at this time, the number of votes of 1 become 2, and how many votes is actually greater than number of votes. So it will be 2. Who is winning is still 1, and this is 1. Okay. Did you get that, sir?
So how do you know that, you know, I think you need to go to that auxiliary or something. How do you know that the count of 1 is 2 now?
Oh, I maintain
the
the
map.
map.
So
Okay.
along with the auxiliary, he maintains a map also. Yeah.
Yes. So there are 2 data structures. One is map, one is auxiliary array, which is a temporary array, right? After that, there is a 0, right? So the votes of 0 now which 2, right? So you see again there's a tie, right? Right. But because it is greater than or equal to how many votes I need, so it typically means I will pick the 0, which is because he is the latest one. Okay. Now 0 becomes 3. It's greater than how many votes? It becomes 3, and I forgot to update this in the last step, but it is 0. Right now the times 1 comes. So now the number of votes of 1 is 3. So I will update. So which is greater than equal to how many votes? So it will become this, and this becomes this. And now finally the 0 comes, and the votes of 0 becomes 4, and it is greater than or equal to how many votes? So I will just update this 4, update who is winning as 0, and answer is 0, right? So this is how I construct my temporary array or auxiliary array, and then I do a binary search on this.
Yeah, and in this case, you would ask yourself, why do I need the auxiliary array when it's the same as the person's array?
In this case, it's
Yeah.
the case, unfortunately, but if you build on a different
Yeah, let's try to add a couple of ones between
Where?
the first ones.
Okay,
let's add
do
ones
1
here. Yeah.
How about this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so initial, should I start from the beginning?
So you'll have to add a time also there in that case if you added 1.
No, I don't have to add time, because time is actually the same as the times array.
Yeah, no, but you need another one actually.
So the
Okay.
first, so just, I have a query.
Yeah.
So you will do a binary search on the times array and find the index, and you will pick the winner from the auxiliary.
Yes, exactly. So I will pick a time from the doing a binary search. I will pick a time which is less than or equal to
the query time. Yeah.
the query time, and it should be on the rightmost, because right, you understand this part, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Could you go to the case when it tie one more time? When it tie, and then you determine
Yeah, so when it's a
which
tie, right?
winner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the tie is happening because the most recent person is actually getting a vote. That's why
Yeah,
it is becoming a tie.
in your logic right there. So let's say if 0 is 4 and map 1, 3 is also 4. So
In that case, whoever is updating this 4, right, at the last will be the winner.
okay, so you need to look through. Do you need to look through all the entry in the map?
No, why?
No.
No. So that's a whole point of the last one. So what I'm saying is, you should update the value for greater than equal to, if your number of votes at that time is greater than or equal to how many votes. So that will automatically pick up your most recent ones. That's what I'm saying. Because equal to means that guy vote has already increased, right?
Yeah.
So like at that particular timestamp. So that's why I said this is a first intuition. And this is my second intuition, and who is winning and how many votes. And like the first intuition was things will change only at these times, right?
Yeah, even you can make this simpler. like
Uh-huh.
you can just store in an auxiliary array the difference of votes. If it is like we are incrementing the difference as +1 when a 1 receives a vote, and if a 0 receives a vote, we can decrement it, and finally if it is positive, we can means we don't need to maintain all the other variables.
There can be multiple candidates.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
right.
only 0 and 1. It
Yeah,
could be
that would be
2.
more tricky then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
that
but
on that test case.
Yeah. So therefore, I was
Yeah, but
wondering why the map is there. But yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you want me to carry out this example for triple ones?
Yeah, just missing 1 times though between, let's say, 10 and 15. We'll put 13 or something.
Over here?
No, in the times. Yeah, we're missing 1 time because it's more. We have more elements now.
Oh, okay. All right. So let me quickly iterate this again. Okay.
Okay.
Will not waste much time. So let's start building again. Okay. So at time 0, we have a vote of 0 as 1. Am I right now? And this is definitely greater than how many votes? Am I right? 1 is greater than vote. So it will be 0. And I will update my how many votes to 1, and the who is winning is actually 0.
So
Next time.
Last updated candidate. Okay.
Yeah, like who is winning, right? So next time the 1 comes, right? And so I will update the 1 with a 1 vote because it was not there in the map. I will compare, I will see how many votes is there. So it is greater than equal to 1. So I will update to 1. So this was basically the clash part, the tight part. Now the 1 comes again.
But you have to update the who's winning. Also.
Sorry. Yeah. Next time again 1 comes, right? So now the votes of 1 becomes 2. So it is definitely greater than how many votes. So I will just update it to 2. Who is winning is still 1. So it doesn't matter whether you update it or not. And I get a 1, right? Now 1 again comes. So this time the maps becomes 3, right? The votes become 3. Who is winning is still 1. So I will add a 1. Now the 0 comes, right? And so the 0 comes. So the map, so basically this becomes 2. And this is definitely less than how many votes. So I will just update who is winning. It is 1. This is what the case was. You have ever read this example, right? So after this 0 again comes, right? So for this 0, number of votes for 0 becomes 3. And now it is greater than or equal to 3, which is a tight condition. And so I will update this to 0. And who is winning is basically 0. And then 1 comes. So this becomes 4. This is definitely greater than how many votes. So I will just update this. Who is winning? Winning is 1. And I will update to 1. Next time is 0. So votes of V0 becomes 4. This is definitely greater than or equal to how many votes. So I will just update who is winning. It's 0. And my answer is 0.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay. And then just run the binary search on this array. So it will be, yeah. So for example, for 3, right? So now this is basically my auxiliary array, and the times array remains the same, right? The times array remains the same. So I will just, for 3, right? So for 3, the index will be 0. So it will be 0. Answer will be 0 for this query. For 12, it basically, if you do a binary search, it will be 10, right? So it will be 1, and so forth and so forth. Right? You guys know the intuition for that, right?
Yep.
For 25, 0 it will be. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, for 25, I think it will be 1. Because that's our second percentage. Unless I push it up. Yeah, 25 for it's, yeah, it's 1. Okay.
Yeah. So how did you implement? You used 1 map and 1 auxiliary array.
Yes. So time complexity wise, it will be O of n, right? Because not O of n. It will be O of n plus number of queries into log n, right? And depends on whether the number of queries is bigger or whether n is bigger. That will dictate the time complexity, right? Because it takes O of n times to build the auxiliary array, and for every query it takes log n times because I'm doing a binary search, right? And for space, it will be O of n because I'm maintaining map and the auxiliary array.
I think you could have reused the
Persons array?
yeah, you for auxiliary array. I think you could reuse the top array.
Yeah. It's still the time complexity is O of n because of the map.
Yeah. If, like, we can reuse that, but remember, like, for the interviews, don't reuse those because whatever input is given, we should not be modifying the given input. Think of like you're building a library or something where you are passed in the input, and then what that library does, it's just a black box. It will return you the output. What happens like if that library modify the input that you are passing, and then it started like using the maybe caller is using the input again, so things may go wrong.
Yeah, unless somebody asks you to do in O of n of one space or something.
Or clearly or mention that you may modify the input.
Yeah. Like we should avoid it as much as I can, as you guys mentioned.
So because avoid by default.
Avoid by default, because in the software development, I think modifying something is not considered very good. Depends on the kind of things you consider, but usually like you should not modify stuff inside a function.
In the worst case, the size of the map would be same as the size of the
no, it's the number of candidates.
So the number of candidates could be, in the worst case, could be the same, equal the same number of people vote.
Yes.
Right. So the size of the map will be same as the size of the input.
Yes.
Array input.
That's correct.
Gaurav, can you quickly run through your code if you have it handy?
Not.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, no issue. Yeah.
I do have. If you guys.
Okay. Let me stop share.
You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have two implementation. One is the auxiliary array. Another one is the tree, using the tree. So here's the solution not implemented. What just Gaurav explained that this way, the selected one. So here I do have two auxiliary array, one for time and one for the to keep track of the winner at that particular time. And here's the logic what just Gaurav explained that to using the hash map, I'm just actually keeping the track who is the winner at that particular time. And updating here, I'm updating the winner in the auxiliary array. And when I'm just actually doing the query, so I'm just doing running the query on the time array to get that the index, and then using that index returning the winner at that particular time.
So the lookup in this example will have only two elements, right? One is for 0 and one is for 1.
Here, if you consider that example, yes, 0 and 1, but yeah, it could, there may be anything. Yeah. But with this example, yes, there will be only two elements, 0 and 1.
Can we move on to that last problem given the time remaining?
Okay.
Let me stop sharing.
So what was that tree approach? I mean, if you can share the code on Slack or like that. Because I think the tree approach was different, right, from Praveen?
No, that will be similar to auxiliary array. So in the tree approach, the key was my time, and the value was who's the winner.
Are we recording this one? Are we going to share this?
Yes.
It's getting recorded.
Oh, thank you.
So I'll share my implementation for tree approach.
Did we like started the recording? I don't see like a recording being done.
It is
Can you confirm?
recording.
On
Okay.
top left, you can see that.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
This. Okay. Yeah, we can start with the third one. The number of valid words for each of the puzzle. So the puzzle will be valid if these two conditions satisfy. That is, the word contains the first letter of the puzzle, and for every letter in the word, the letter should be in the puzzle. That letter is in the puzzle. For example, if the puzzle is this, all the possible permutations of this, like all the possible permutations of this word, then like F, A, C, E, D, one of the permutation. So this is a valid one. C, A, B, B, A, G, all the words of this letter are lying in this. Not necessary by the frequency, unique. If you see unique here, C, A, B, G, and all these things will lie over here. For baggage, if you see, all the letters are lying in this. But coming to beef, beefed, it doesn't include, this is a invalid word because it will not include A. It said that the first letter of the puzzle should be present in the word, which is not here. So this is an invalid one. And coming to based, S you won't find in this, this one. So this is again an invalid one. Now we need to return an array answer where answer of I is the number of words in the given word list that are valid with respect to the puzzle. So if you see here, corresponding to this word, only this one is satisfying. See, first letter of the word, this word is A, and which is present in this word. So for this, we have only one word. If you go for this, A is present, but here S is there, which is not present in this. So that's why they are not taken. And same goes for B. You can see L is not present here. Again, L is not present. T is not present. Actor, again, T is not present. And axis, I think C is not present. Yeah. Now coming to the second word, if you take what is ABRODYZ. So A, first letter of the puzzle is present here. So it's valid. And again, the same here, S will not be there. L will not be there. Again, L is not there. T is not there. And again, T is not there in this, and axis, C is not there. For absolute, if you see, this is valid because first letter of the puzzle is present here. Even this is valid because S is there, and able is also valid because B is there, and so on for the rest of the words. And for this last one, if you see, G, G is not present in any of the words of this. The first letter of this puzzle word is G, which is not present in any of the words in this. So none of the words exist for it. And these are the constraints. Yeah. And puzzle doesn't contain any repeated character. All of the characters in the puzzle would be unique. Yeah. So any queries or approaches in this?
So the brute force is just like you mentioned, right? Just go to one by one.
Yeah.
Check it.
Yeah.
We keep a list of set of characters.
Of puzzles or words.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I went the wrong way and I kept it for puzzles.
Oh, because this is a puzzle and those things are different, right? The range of those things, I see.
Works. So,
but does it really matter? Like, because at the end of the day, we will be doing some form of O of n square or O of n into m, right? If we do those.
No, we can make.
Yeah, actually,
we can optimize stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
I see.
The constraint is also important because they are lowercase letter.
Yeah, the words will. Yeah, all the letters will be lowercase letters.
Yeah, but how can we optimize? Because we have to go through each and every letter, and we have to look for each and every puzzle.
No, if you can encode them, think in that way. If you can encode them, and if these words are having similar encodings, you can use some map and all, something like that.
Yeah.
Encoding, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing with the example, you can see that, I mean, the puzzle and word. So when this is that, I mean, they map with that puzzle. So it does not mean that they have the exact number of character, or we have to use that alphabet only once. We can use the same alphabet multiple times. So we have
Yeah,
to
but their
consider that.
encodings will be same only. Like APP you take and APPP. So if you convert to them some encodings, so unique characters only take.
You mean to say the anagram, sort of, okay.
Exactly, similar to that. They have given some hints like we can use the help of bit masking.
It's not really an anagram. So if you see the first example, can you scroll up it? Yeah, so if you see that the first valid word, so the puzzle has only one A, but the word has 4A. So we have to just
anagram.
Yeah, that's actually I wanted to point here that if we have that only that alphabet only once in that puzzle, so we are good with that. Even
what
though
about
that
we can remove duplicate? We can do the anagram, but if we remove duplicate, then there's only one A.
From the words?
Yeah, A.
Yeah.
But you have to take constraint of this also. The first letter of this one. Yeah.
Need to present that set. It need not be first letter of the word.
First letter of the puzzle. See, for each letter in the.
Yeah, but if you start removing the duplicates, right, it will take O of n, like O of word length, because this is not sorted, right? Like it might take more time, right? More than O of word length.
Yeah, and we have to search for because we sorted.
Yeah,
then we have to search for the first word and then our first letter. Then it might take time too.
Yeah, but somebody cleverly mentioned that we can actually we can actually reuse the bit. We can represent the as a
mask,
whether the masking that whether the alphabet is there or not, right, in the puzzle. So for example, we can store like for A, B, O, V, E, Y, Z, the bit mask is basically something, right? And then while iterating over words, we can do two validation, whether the word starts with A or not, and then the bit masking. So
yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
So just real quick, what is the advantage of using a bit mask over, like, let's say a hash, like two hash maps, like a hash map for the current word and the current puzzle, and then you do like the set difference between the two hash maps?
Yeah.
See, like
when you're using a set, it's exactly the same thing, right? As bit masking. So you will come to know in a O of one time whether the character is present or not.
Okay, and then for actually building each the bit mask for each word,
take O of W size, right?
Right. Okay. So same as the hash set then.
Yep. Exactly.
I believe like it will be like much better than the hash set, because the reason is like when we are doing the lookups, we can do the lookups in order of one time. With hash set, I believe like we have to iterate through each word, like each letter.
No. Hash set is also access time is O of one.
Okay.
Access time is O of n only. O1, sorry, constant time.
No, like it's access time is O of one, but like let's say in a word like there are multiple letters, we have to look for each letter whether they exist in the hash map or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
How hash set will actually work here?
So what we'll do, like
you build a set for each word, right, and for each puzzle.
Yeah, then you can calculate the set difference.
Yeah,
for
then
example,
you have to look through and find a subset, right? Because you have a set, you know, we need to
not really
we find only a single letter, but we have to find a subset.
not a subset, but the set difference. So like, let's say the first word and first puzzle, right?
Okay.
So if you take it as a set, that'll remove all the duplicates. And then if you do the set difference of that puzzle minus the first word, AAA.
Yeah, so that set different would take time. It's not big of one.
Yes, I think that's the advantage of the bitmap. Like, I guess you could do the comparison in O of one. Is that correct?
Yep. And the same way, I mean, if you have to verify that, I mean, whether the puzzle has all the alphabet from the word, then even the set will not work. Only the set map only help you here.
Can I share my screen? I just want to give it a try.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me stop it.
So actually, I tried the bitmap, but I'm stuck here that with the TLE when I was comparing.
I don't know. I haven't solved this, so let me give this a try, to see how it goes. So, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
And I believe the idea here is we will iterate through each of the word first. Okay. So let's say these are my words given as, let me copy those. Right. Now, what I will do for each letter, okay, maybe if I take the letter in the word, whatever the letter is, and if I do minus a, oh, this is so weird. Okay, this will give me 0, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Similarly, if I have letter B, and then if I do character minus a, it will give me 1. And so on. So Z will give me
26. I think.
25.
Sorry, 25. Sorry.
Z minus a 25. Okay, so that's how I will do it. Now, what I'm thinking, maybe I can take each word first and start building a mask. Okay, so let's say we have a 32-bit integer. Okay, and all of those are, for the sake of simplicity, let's take a easy one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just taking 8, and then I'm considering the characters that I have is from A up to 8 characters. Okay, so in this case, what I will do, if I get a, okay, then I will take 1.
Yep.
And then right shift it by 0. Okay, because a represents 0. Correct?
This is, I think, left shift.
Yeah, left shift. Sorry, yeah. I do left, and then I do the OR for both the numbers.
Exactly.
Okay. So in this case, this result will give me 1. Okay. Then again, the second letter is A, third letter is A, fourth letter is A. So my final answer, for the first word, will be this. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if I take AS, then again I will start with all zeros. Okay. And then start with A, 1, right shift A minus A, which is 0. So this should give me 0. So it will become 1. Okay. And then when I get yes here, okay, there should be some bit on the very right. Let's say this is the bit, this will be converted to 1. Okay. So let's say this represent S, and then some previous bits. Okay.
That will be position 19.
Yeah, so position 19. Okay. So this is not a correct representation, but I have more bits in between. But you can think of the bits 32 bits, and the first bit represent A, second from the very right, the second represent B, third represents C, and so on up to 25. Okay, 26. Okay, so these are the integers which I will get the integers based on each of the word. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now what I will do the same thing for the puzzles. So I will create another array of integers. So this is array of integers. Okay, and this is how like it is constructed, like based on the logic I just explained. Similarly, like I can do it like for the puzzles. Okay, now for puzzles, let's say like I again come up with perform the same operation, and then I will get like something. I don't know like what it should look like, but I will get like, let's say like something I'm getting here. Okay. Now what I can do is, the constraint is first letter of the puzzle should match the word, correct?
Yes.
It should be like the first letter of the word, or like what it is?
The first letter of the puzzle should be present at any ith character in the word.
Okay. So what we can do, we can take the first letter of the puzzle. Okay, in this case it is A. Do minus A, and then left shift by that amount. So we get like in this case 1, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So now take this mask, this as a mask for this puzzle, and go through all the words and do the OR. Okay. So first word with the OR of this mask, which will give you 1.
Or and, right?
Some number greater than 1, greater than 0. Okay.
Yep.
No, like we should do and, I guess, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, we have to do and.
Yeah, we should do and when we do and, like it will give like some number greater than 0. So if the number that we are looking is greater than 0, then that means this A is present in this word.
When we will do the and, it will be the exact same value
as a word, right?
Same value. Yep. Okay, so that is present, and then we can continue to repeat. Okay, and let's take the first word. Okay, so we figured out, okay, like this first letter is present in this word. Okay, yeah. Now what we can do, like we can take the word itself, which is represented by this integer. Okay, and we do the and with the puzzle, correct?
Yeah.
So when we do the and with the puzzle, it should give us any number greater than 0.
It will give you the exact same as a word.
It should not, like the reason is like, let's say what if I have like B here?
Because we are doing add.
Yep. Okay.
This one was puzzle, right? If you do and.
Okay, makes sense. Like I got like what you were saying. Okay, so
if it does not give the exact, that means there is no match.
Yeah, there is no match. So we can do and for this word with the puzzle, and if it matches, that means both the conditions are met. Then similarly, like we will pick again the same mask, do the and with the second one, and okay, so if it matches, we are good. And then we take this integer for the second word, and then do the and with the puzzle, and if they matches, then that means like all the letters of that word are present in that puzzle, right? So I believe like this should work. We can create 2 masks. We can iterate over the first array, the words array, and then the puzzle, and then we can create like 2 integers, and then we can perform the operation as we discussed.
Yeah, so Gaurav, I tried that. That's exactly same what you explained here. Though that's, I mean, from the solution point of view, that's perfectly fine and give you the answer. But if you run in the lead code, that give you the TLE.
Oh wow.
And then I spend more time and read some article, and looks like, and even I gone through their hints. So there is something, the clue is here in the puzzle. So all the puzzles are actually length is exactly 7 character and no repeated character. So there's a clue in that.
How about we end all the puzzles? Do you think we can? No, that's not true.
No, but we still have to go and compare each and every word with each and every puzzle word, right? What Gaurav said.
Yeah, if we
you have to do anyway, or else how are you going to get the answer?
So if we do that, we get the TLE. So we have to actually right now what we are doing. So for each puzzle, we are actually enumerating for for each word, we are actually enumerating for all the puzzles, right? Or vice versa. So somehow we have to trick here that we have to filter the word instead of actually for each word we have going for all the puzzles. We have to filter and just get the subset and just run the final execution only on subset of those words.
That should take n square only, right? But like, yeah. Let's say if two.
But I would say, I'm sorry, go ahead, Leon.
If the size of the word equal the size of the puzzle, then it should be only n square. And if we do follow that idea, then it because at each step we pre-compute the mask, and to verify, seem like we only need to mask it. It should be constant, is it? Because we verify if the first letters in the puzzle, it should be constant, and then we verify if the subset, it should be constant too.
Exactly. I mean, we have to actually get all the subset of the puzzle and look. First, we have to actually build a map for the word mask, and then we have to run for each puzzle. We have to get the subset, and then for those subsets, just look into the hash map for the word mask map. So in that case, here with the constraint, so we do have a 7-length puzzle, and we know that one character is fixed, right? The first character. So we have to just get the subset for the 6th character. So that will be 2 to the power 6. So 64 subset. So we just need to actually run the loop 64 times to look into the word map for each puzzle.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, that's probably what I missed. Why we need to get all the subset for each puzzle?
Yeah, that I have not implemented, and that's not my idea. I just actually found in one article. I tried to actually see in the discussion, but I could not understand the solution people explained. So then I found one article which I shared you guys. That's really well explained in that. And I think I may go through and may implement that.
Yeah, but for the interview perspective, I would say the way Gaurav explained will be a good way of implementing, right? Because if it's giving a TLE, it means we need to more optimize it somewhere, right? Or maybe there's some trick in it. But actually, the problem statement doesn't give you a clue about that trick.
It gives, I mean, not the problem statement. If you see the constant, so the length is equal to 7, so that may be one of the hint. Length is fixed for puzzle. Okay. And that's why, I mean, considering the problem is marked as hard, so yeah, that is expected. If it's a medium, then yeah, whatever Gaurav explained that should be enough. If it's a medium problem.
So, like, I missed the clue. Like, what is the clue here?
I'm sorry?
Like, what is like the optimized version of the algo that we just discussed based on the clue?
So, Gaurav, what you just explained that I implemented in the same way, and the LeetCode is actually giving me the TLE with that. Yeah.
So what's the solution that you have found?
So the solution what I found, though I have not implemented fully, and still I need to actually digest that. So what that guy explained that, so the puzzle, all the puzzles are the length equal to 7.
Okay.
So by considering that, so now we know that each word must have if we can build the word, so the first character of the puzzle must be in the word, right? So considering that, so that at least one word, one position, first word will be fixed, and rest of the word in the puzzle 6, we have to build a subset. So what he tried to do, he actually created a separate that guy actually created a separate string with the six alphabet, sorry, and sorted them, and then build a subset and look into the hash map of the word mask which we created. And if there is a match, then count there is a word we can build.
Oh, so you are saying that the rest of the 6 words, you need to form such a hash map wherein you can include all of the words.
Yes.
The patterns of the words. So you can just add them whenever you want.
Yeah, you have to look into that.
And so you always have to keep on iterating only on the puzzles and not on the words.
Exactly.
Ah.
So I'll share that. I mean,
but that's very difficult actually.
Could you share it here? Could you?
Yeah, I'll share that article.
It?
Yeah, I will share that article.
No, he's saying that can you share some code or something here?
I have not implemented that part yet, but the rest of the part, what Gora explained, I implemented that part only.
Okay. I think Shashank has something.
Yeah, I know it's almost parallel only. Like what Gora was saying for the puzzle. So what I did first, I created a, let's say with the small example we can go. Let's say we had this word, right? So what are all the possible words that you can get out of it? First, a character of length 1, character of length 2, or character of length, word of length 3, sorry. So what I'll do, I'll take the mask of this and try to generate all the masks till I get 0, 0, 0, everything. So corresponding to this puzzle, I generated all the possible, bit masking for that. Like, let's say these are the bit masks that I generated for them. Till 0, starting from here. Initially it was for 1011. Let's say this was the original string, original puzzle word. So this is what I got the submask. Now I'll try to generate all the submask out of it till I hit everything is 0. This is for that. Now what I'll do, I'll go through each word in this, try to generate the mask for each of them, and whichever word is having similar mask, I'll take key as a mask and put the words in that, in the hash map.
Oh, so you're going to make a bucket using those, whatever the mask you created, right?
Yeah, the words having the similar mask, a key will be, the mask will be a key, and the words having the similar mask will be put in that bucket. Yeah. So this is like, first I created all the possible, what Gaurav said, like, to get the mask, like you take convert it to ASCII value, perform left shift, and then do OR operation with it, and it will return for every word the mask of it. Then this is what, for every word I calculated the mask, and I'll see if the mask is same for, let's say, for example, the mask for this, or let's say if the word is like APPLE and the word another is like APPP, okay, LE. So for the mask for both these words will be same, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So these two words will be put in that one mask, like whatever, like let's say for this 1, 1 and 1, 1, because letters are repeated only. So for A1, P1, L1, it's just a hypothetical mask I'm creating. So for the other word also, it will be 1, 1, 1, 4. So corresponding to this one, you'll put both the words inside, apple and APPPLE. And you have to make sure that the first word of this should match, not the first word, any ith character of this word should match with the first word of this puzzle. So this is like doing that thing, bucketing everything, the words having the similar mask put into the same bucket. And now I'll go through each of the word in the puzzle, get that puzzle word, get the mask of it, and this is the operation. So I stored it in a variable. Now what I'll do, what this condition is like, first bit of the puzzle should be present in your word. So this is what I'm checking for that. I'm doing AND operation with 1 and doing the right shift with the submask what I got, and store it in the dictionary. And again, what I told that I'll generate all the possible mask out of it. Like if I started it from 1011, I'll go till 000 till all the bits become 0. So I'll get all the possible permutations, because whatever words will form, that will be let's say whatever word you will form from here, whatever word will belong to this particular first word of the puzzle will have the same mask, right? let's say if these two words belong to this, then whatever mask is for this word, the same will be mask for those words. So the way for doing is that take the original mask and just check, you subtract 1 to it and then do AND operation with this. But since in computer you can't do the AND minus operation, so what we'll do, we'll go from the right, just check whenever you hit the first one, convert it to 0, and after that if anything is there, convert it to 1. Like let's say like first time you hit here as 1, right? So make this position as 0, and after this one, whatever integers or whatever bits are there, put them to, make them to 1. It's like this, like say 1 0 1 0. So first time you entered 1 from right side is here, so it will be 1 0 0. Now after this one, see how many bits are on the right side of, and make them as 1. So this will be 1, and then do AND operation with the original bit whatever you have, and you'll get this corresponding to this, you'll get D1. And if this word is present in your, what you say, in this list, that means you can count it as 1.
Also, you're trying to create all the combinations of the bits, all the permutations of the bit.
Yeah, all the permutation of the bits, because if any word is there of this this word, then that will have the same mask whatever this particular word is having. That word is having.
But in that case, if we, for example, the word A, right, is a subset of the first puzzle, we can AND it, and if it equal A, then we know A must be a subset of the puzzle.
Yeah, exactly. All these words will be a subset of this puzzle. Yeah, if it matches with it.
And with the bit mask, we can AND it and see if A is a subset of the puzzle. If it is a subset, and it also contains the first character, and we know that.
Our first duty will be to check the first character matches with this. After that, check if this is a subset of this puzzle.
Yeah, but you check that subset, we only need to AND it, right? AND that 2-bit map. And then if it's still equal A, then we know that it's a subset.
Yeah, Leon, that's what is the normal implementation. But if you do it, as Praveen mentioned, you hit on a TLE. So because you keep on comparing with each and every word and each and every puzzle, so the words and puzzles may be very big.
Yeah, if you see the constants of 10 to the power 5 and 10 to the power 4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So your submask is kind of generating
all the possible mask of that particular puzzle. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for see,
which is equivalent to the subsequence of the puzzle.
Yeah. Subsequence. Yeah.
It is like a subsequence.
Because I mean, if we can delete some characters, no.
Yeah, if every letter is occurring one, suppose in a word. So
because they need not be. I mean, you can skip some of the letter. Like if you take this word, A is here, B is here, but L is not here.
Yeah, they won't be in the words. Okay, got it. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I still did not get what PS was saying, so I think you can share the article.
Yeah, I share the article. Yeah, it's similar to that, but it's nicely explained to understand that, because the intuition that the subset one is finally, I mean, the approach is same, but the way he explained that, I mean, I think I got the idea with that only.
Like, how do you come up with this formula, like submask minus AND mask?
Yeah, so yeah, that's very well explained in that article. Yeah. So I shared that article.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please, yeah.
Where did you share it?
On Slack.
Slack.
Oh, Slack.
Yeah.
On LeetCode, right? The
Yes,
okay.
same thread. Yeah.
Please, yeah, do that. Yeah, thank you.
Same thread. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
it was a very difficult question, though. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like out of the box thinking. Like, I mean, until and unless we haven't faced such problem, we won't. But
Yeah,
anagram was my thought also. Like, I mean, corresponding to this, we can create a bit, like whether that word is present in the string or not. And similarly, I'll also create a encoding for this, and I'll match if this encoding matches with this, taking the consideration that first word of this. First step will be to match first word, and then if the encodings are same, then could be one of the possible answer. You know.
Yeah, I mean, up to that point, it's easy to think.
Yeah.
But after that, it's
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I also did, and I got TLE. I got so frustrated. I said, okay, it's so simple. Why am I getting a TLE? Yeah, but as you said, it's a hard problem, so we need to think something differently.
How do we come to a conclusion that we need to use bitmap actually?
Hint is
yeah. So one is that the size.
Let's say we don't have the hint. The size, you say?
Yeah, the constant. So if we don't, if we see the constant, so if we don't use the bitmap, so then you can see that we have to each word array length is 10 to the power 5, and then individual word length itself 50. So that will be a huge comparison than if you have to work 10 to the power 5 into 10 to the power 4 into 50 into 7.
Yeah.
Also, I think with the bitmap, we know that we can use it because it's all lowercase character, and then there's only 26 character, right? And
Yeah.
integer 32.
Yeah. So and one is that the lowercase character, and the next intuition came from that. I mean the first example that, I mean, if we have only that alphabet once in the puzzle and repeating in the word, we are okay with that. We can use the same alphabet multiple times.
in the past 6 months, I think there have been not.
No problem.
The encoding idea will come. That is, I mean, that going to bitmap, that will be a bit tough, but this encoding idea we can start, and slowly if interviewer can give us some.
Yes.
Because you go for a, what you say, map, and then in the map you also include the first word as well as create a hash function for each and every word. But that will be a more of a more overhead on the space also.
Yeah.
No, actually,
fine. Yeah.
So, but with the hash, that will not help you to actually figure it out whether the first word actually match or not. In that case, you will have to extract the first word and then match with that.
Right.
Look into the word.
Yeah, maybe create a key for that word and then do all that stuff. Yeah.
A lot of, I think we need to have.
Yeah, like the other person say, right? We can do the different set. If the different set equals 0, then we know that a subset. If it not equals 0, then we know it's not a subset. But that is not constant time.
Okay.
Somebody
Give
would
it to the hash set, right?
difference. Yeah, set difference.
That's good.
But in set difference, how will it take care of first word? Because word will
that
be
will
like
that will have to do like the way we are doing it, because that is a separate condition, right?
Yeah, sure.
So that will be an addition for everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Then
what is time for this one then?
Sorry.
Wait.
Could you please stop recording?
Okay, just
then we can discuss whatever we want to.